Hey, how you been, man?
Good, good. Um, so today I just want to talk to you about transformation, but mainly for the organizations that have to DIY. They got to do it themselves, you know?
Right, right,
Um, Especially in a time period that we're in now, not everybody can afford to bring in the high price consulting. They just have to get things done, especially because, they're being asked to work remotely, with
right.
the climate that we're dealing with now. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts and share some of my own regarding DIY transformation.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Any initial thoughts that come to mind, speaking of which, and go from there?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few that I do at home and with my org. I love the concept of checklists. I guess I do it because, from a memory perspective, I don't want to remember everything, and I just have a bad memory anyway, Sean. So I really heavily rely on a checklist, and it's not like a checklist like a to do. It's more of if I'm doing a certain procedure, um, it keeps me honest about did I do all these steps, most likely in order, in a certain order, to get to the final outcome. Example that comes to me mind is even right now, let's say for these videos, managing videos, I have a checklist that says, first thing to do is upload the video and then save it. Then do the editing, then add the verbiage, maybe add some music, and then finally do a review and so forth until I get to the end point where we both review it and say, okay, yes, let's post. Now, I traditionally know what I need to do, but it's just less work for me to think about it. I just have a checklist. It's on the back of the wall. You can't really see it, but have a checklist that says do these 5 things, and in almost all cases, it's going to get you to the goal you want to get to. So I'm really big on the checklist, and it's slightly different than I would say a goal list or a to-do list, right? I believe in to-do lists and goal lists. Don't get me wrong, but a checklist is sort of for I think it was like a workflow, a set of procedures or components that you should include in
Hmm.
order to get to your end goal. Does that kind of make
Absolutely.
sense?
Oh yeah, no, I I don't know where I'd be personally without checklists. Yeah, I'm staring at my whiteboard here. I live through checklists, and also that sense of accomplishment too. That incremental sense of accomplishment. When
Yeah.
you're looking at a mountain of activity work you have to do, and just picking through each item just gives that incremental reinforcement needed to keep going,
Yeah.
especially during the harder days. So, yeah, I live with checklists. I couldn't agree more. Um, One of the things that came to mind for me, and this is probably the least sexy, it's called the 5 S's, and
Yeah.
I've used this technique for a long time and advocated to many groups that I've worked with. The 5 S's is a Lean Six Sigma technique, but it
Right.
stands for sort, straighten, shine, standardize, and sustain.
Mm-hmm.
um, Overall, the ability just to get organized. Where are files located? Where are documents? Where are physical tools located? If you think like of um, a warehouse, family friend of mine, he they do a lot of construction projects. They service clients' garage doors right across multiple cities, and then their warehouse has tools and parts everywhere. So they're
Mm-hmm.
spending a good 25 to 30 minutes every morning just finding bolts, wrenches, a whole bunch of different tools. And that if they were organized in a standard spot in the warehouse, would just save them a good 30 minutes every morning prior to
Yes.
their run to service clients. So I couldn't say more about the effectiveness of just getting organized and standardizing processes by way of the 5 S's. Sometimes the simplest of the activity is the most effective relating to the 5 S's.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's a great example. I've done so many of those initiatives, particularly when I was in healthcare. We did it. I think it was once every 3 weeks. We had a 5S on a different floor or a different special location. it is so critical to, get everything out. And then when you're slowly putting back things that you need, right? Because you're sorting what you don't need from what you do need. But when you get to that point to standardize, so everything has its place, it is so critical. It saves you a lot of time. It negates you looking for lost information, or lost, in this case in healthcare, was tools.
Hmm.
Um, I personally do this at home. So I know I'm a nerd. Well, you already know, okay? I'm a continuous improvement nerd. We do this at home all the time. So just simple things like when we walk into the house, my keys have to go to a certain place. Now, this is not a controlling thing, right? So people say, okay, Carl, you're that type of guy that has to have things in a certain box. It's not for that. It's less time me looking for it, because when I don't put it in that place, Sean, I spend 30 minutes looking for my car keys.
Yep.
Right? I spent 30 minutes looking for my car keys, and every time I tell myself, it's like, because you did not follow your 5S. You went to the trouble of cleaning everything and
Hmm.
put it that this little drawer, this little component is going to hold your car keys, so you don't have to think about it. So when I leave, it's almost like, okay, here's my slot, here's my car keys, here's my wallet, and out the door. So I use this constantly. And a matter of fact, we're cleaning out our basement, so we're just at the beginning stage. We're at the sort of what's keeping, what's
Mm.
charity, what's throwing away. So we're right at that stage, and I'm a nerd. I can't wait to get to that the final stage where we can just standardize it and make the basement look great again. But no, I absolutely love that tool, and it can use not just you gave a electronic documents, excuse me, as an example. You can use for physical. It goes a long way. So it's not sexy. You're right. It's not sexy, but it's definitely necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even in your example there, it reminded me of my time in government with um, where on an annual basis we go through an activity called Records Management Week, where the one of the big
That's not
pushes.
sexy.
Yeah, that ain't sexy at all. No one ain't running to do that, you know.
But absolutely necessary. Sorry,
Absolutely necessary.
continue.
Yeah. So when I took over as manager there, to reformat it to give it life, um, reformatted as an office cleanup kind of initiative where we negotiated with every floor, every line of business to specify how we can purge certain files that are transitory or no longer required, how we return records to the record center,
Mm.
or confidential shredding. So we broke it down into three activities, and we also leveraged the checklist style to say here are all the things that you can purge or get rid of:
Mm-hmm.
duplicates, multiple versions like periodicals, advertising material. So we gave a long checklist, and floor by floor, we let every group make it their own. People had big recycle bins with balloons. Some people had like Purge Friday, or an hour a day purging
Mm.
and sorting activities. We brought donuts, music, pizza in some cases. Yeah, floor by floor, each line of business made it their own activity and completed some degree of purging or sorting or filing away documents or shredding, making their own activity, making that core unsexy activity something that's meaningful to their business,
Right.
and tying it to things like saving us time, saving us space, and a whole variety of different things to help their business locally. So, yeah, that's pretty
Very
cool.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Final thought to that. It overall it brings up that mindset that's pretty important with DIY. I find that measuring successes, like bringing forward a reason why,
Mm-hmm.
and tying your DIY transformation to that reason why, whether that be, we could never, it takes us 30 minutes every morning to get out of the shop to get to a job,
Mm-hmm.
or, we have a whole back office room that's full of junk files. What do we need? What do we keep? We can
Right.
recoup that space or even recoup that basement. You know what I mean? So tying it to a strong reason why and then measuring incremental successes
Mm-hmm.
helps develop and reinforce that DIY mindset and keeps us moving forward.
Yeah, I would even add to that the one aspect of doing this, uh, this set of activity of 5S is there is almost immediate realized efficiencies, whether it
Cool.
is savings in time, so reduce effort trying to locate files, reducing the amount of files, so your systems are clogging them because there's too many, or looking for a particular equipment, space. There's so many things, you name it. It's not just practical savings, it's actually realized savings that companies can get soon after doing an exercise like this. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
well said.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Some good tips as always.
Okay, I got another one. Um, this is sort of more of an analog base, but you can certainly make this digitized. There's plenty of software tools that does this, but I like to use a tool called Kanban. I don't know if
Mm.
it's Kanban or Kanban. I was taught from Six Sigma to call it Kanban, but sometimes I hear people say Kanban. So I'm sure the comments they're gonna let us know what's the right way. But I've been taught how to say it as Kanban. Okay, Sean, and for any of the comments out there. So Kanban is very similar to what I was talking about, checklist manifesto, except it's certain activities that's progressing over time. So the most common way individuals use is there's a set of activities that maybe say one individual has to complete or a team has to complete, whether it's for a project or personal or so forth. And um, each it's sort of like you hold a card, like, so what you can see on the back of me, I actually have a Kanban board for some activities I have to do.
Oh, I
And
see it. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so each one of those sticky notes is a specific task, right?
Mm.
So if you want to look at it from a project management perspective, it's a work breakdown structure. It's a particular task that says who's responsible, when it got started, and the status. And but there's so many or multiple tasks you may have to do, you can't do them all at once, so you put them in stages. And the most common is, this is what needs to get done, pillar stage. And as it progresses from left to right, so over my shoulders going this way,
Mhm.
um, it's this is what we're going to work on next, this is currently worked on, and this is completed. And so people use several titles. Now, I've been doing it for so long, I just use my own creative titles. Like, sometimes I'll use something like, this needs to get done, don't rest, you're almost done, don't rest, and hey, this should be done yesterday, right? It's transitioning for activities. So currently I have on the wall right now is um, you know do one thing at a time, focus on the most important thing um, right now, and start it right now. So that's how I progress.
Mhm.
And the different colors just mean, I probably overcomplicated, but I've done this so many times, I'm used to it. The different colors mean different type of tasks, right? So some are personal, some is for my consultancy, some are for some other activities I'm working on, and then it just transitions from left to right. So it's a really highly effective tool
Mhm.
that helps you capture the tasks that you're trying to do, the several different tasks for you individually or your project team, but you can also use it as it transitions through several phases of its completion. There's a much better way to explain it. I know my 60 lean masters are slapping me and saying that's a better
Mhm.
worst way to explain it, but I'm just trying to keep it in simple terms. It's a great way to manage project flows or tasks and see how it progresses, and you work at it based on the effectiveness and efficiency of the people that are working on it. So if like for me personally, I try not to work more than 3 major tasks per day. And so if you have a team of 3, if I do that rule, then maybe they're only working on 3 large ones or maybe 9 separate ones. But it tells you, okay, there's 20 tasks that need to get done, but they're currently working on these 3, and then they're not going to pull the next ones over until these 3s are done and shift over. So
Mhm. Yeah, no, yeah, I could totally agree with your assessment breakdown of Kanban. Oh yeah, there's that's it.
so you call it Kanban, right? Oh
Kanban,
gosh.
yeah.
Okay, I want
um,
people to tell me what the right way. They're gonna let us know.
I
Kanban or Kanban.
I wish I knew. I just yeah, but I find it also a very highly effective tool. I've used it with my team of business analysts, a team I worked on with a group of software developers and quality assurance testers,
Hmm.
and also with engineers. And in all 3 scenarios, Kanban has been wildly effective. I guess because it's so easy to learn, um, it makes it quick to pick up, jump right in and go. You know.
Right.
And you can quickly see what's active, what's closing, what's ahead or behind schedule, and yeah, I find that it was just really quick and effective to learn, to teach, and to jump right in and get going. So yeah, I love it personally too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tools out there. I mean, you can do that analog like you see back here, but there's a lot of software that we can mention. Maybe we'll put in a link or something, a couple of examples.
Right on. So I gotta run. My little
Okay, man.
man's waiting for me for a lunch date. So
Absolutely.
we'll catch you on the flip side.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, cheers.
All right, peace.